Hi guys, so the third and final video I think for this Saturday. Donc la troisième est la vidéo finale pour ce samedi. So I'm just going to charge my phone. Je vais juste charger mon portable. So this is a video largely for Jonas, who has sent me the following email. No, he didn't. He sent me the following WhatsApp. Hi Luke, French question for you. Passé composé versus imperfect. Passé composé, Jonas, is spelt P-A-S-S-E acute, okay? Your rule is use the imperfect if it relates to description, repetition, mental state, or if. When I say my rule, I don't mean my rule, I mean it's one of the guides, okay? Looking at this sentence, les annonces qu'elle a lues sur le journal promettaient beaucoup, mais les appartements qu'elle a vus n'étaient pas très jolis. Okay, not 100% spelt correctly, but you're obviously at the beginning stages of your French, so already I think that's great. Why is prometté in the imparfait? I don't see how it fits into one of the 4 rule points. Jonah, okay. So I sent Jonah a private message for this, but I'm just going to give it out to everybody because that's the point of sharing. Caring and sharing. Right, so let's talk about this. The question Jonah wrote will be as he originally wrote it underneath. Okay, so that will be in the description box. Okay, so let's quickly talk. I say this many, many times. If in English you are saying have and has in your English, then you are going to use what we call the passé composé, which is the past tense with 3 words. So that means have in the middle, be in the middle, or be in the middle with a reflexive. For example, j'ai mangé, je suis allé, or je me suis lavé. Yeah, I ate, what did I say? I went, je suis allé, did I say? And je me suis lavé, I got washed. Okay? If you have a sentence in English which uses was, were, or used to, 95% of the time you will use the imperfect. You won't use the imperfect if you say I was born, je suis né, which is an extra verb in the passé composé, and you won't use the imperfect if you're talking about an action that's going to take place like that. So the kind of people who are watching this video who need to work out the difference between the was, the imperfect tense, and the passé composé tense, most of whom won't be worrying about that kind of thing. If you are, then basically to make that really clear, if you said, for example, London was bombed is the example I gave in the original video on this. So if you were saying London got bombed as an action, you would not say Londres était bombardé. You would say Londres a été. You would use the passé composé to demonstrate a faster action. All right, not a fast action, but an action being done in one go. That's a side note for why am I going a bit Australian? That's a side note for those of you who know what's going on there. All right, let's carry on. So most of the time then, if you are using was, were and used to in your English, you are going to use the imperfect tense in French. That means the tense where you end it in a, en, iaa. So if you're so new to French and to the channel that you don't know how to do the passé composé or the imperfect, I will attach those videos underneath in due course, okay? But this is mainly for people who know their tenses, they're just not sure which one to use in the past. So then we are left with the third situation in French. We are left with a situation in French where, in English, where you've got a simple worded past. A préterite. Yeah, a simple past. Called simple not because it's simple, but because it's achieving the tense in one word. So, for example, I spoke, Luke wrote, Jim understood, Mary smoked, whatever. So these are basically sentences that can go either way, and that's the shitter, that's the annoying thing. So it really doesn't come down to the way we say in French I spoke is j'ai parlé. It doesn't work like that. Most of the time, I suppose, yeah, you know, it will tend to be referring to an action that took place. Now let's explain what I mean by an action that took place. I mean you are it doesn't mean that the past. So my mom rang the hospital. That action took as long as it took in the past. If I'm talking about that simply by saying, oh, my mom rang the hospital, it doesn't mean how long it lasts. It doesn't mean oh, you know, it only lasted a few seconds, so it's going to be this tense rather than this tense. It's not. It's going to be ma mère a appelé versus ma mère appelé. It's got nothing to do with how long it lasts. For example, the world changed, le monde a changé, during the monolithic period. You know, that took millions of years, but it would still be, you know, in the passé composé. Christopher Columbus went to America. That took a long time, but you are referring to it in one throwaway sentence. Christophe Colomb est allé, so that'll be in the simple one. So in other words, what I'm saying is if your French is dealing with an action, previously I've called it a light bulb going on or off, a change. You are referring to the change taking place in the sentence. So other ideas are the light bulb going on or off in the sentence. You are describing that change taking place as opposed to describing a status quo. That will give you the 1, 2, 3 tense, as opposed to the status quo will give you the imperfect tense. So we'll come on to that in a second. So I previously said really helpful terms are mental state versus mental action. So I wanted, that's describing the state that I was in. Like, you know, I wanted to do this. I knew the answer. So you said I knew the answer, it's going to be the imperfect. Je savais. Yeah, it's not going to be j'ai su because it's I knew the answer. When I was a kid, I understood. Now the word I understood is I, single word in English, understood. So straight away, we're not in our have or has, 1, 2, 3. Passé composé, you know, j'ai compris. We're not in our I understood imperfect, je comprenais. Automatically, we have to think which one we're going to go into. So if it were when Luke told me how to form the past tense, a light bulb happened, a change took place. It doesn't matter how quickly the change took place, but a change took place. I understood. Oh, j'ai compris. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 3. When I was a kid, I understood where babies came from. There's no change taking place in this sentence. It's basically describing what is the status at that period in time. Yeah, I understood. I was in a position of understanding, okay? I've just realised the plastic on my... I'm going away for the weekend and I've just realised the plastic in my sachet with my products is in my bag. Oh, sorry about that. So, yeah. So if you said, for example, I understood and a change took place, j'ai compris. If you said, yeah, you know, I understood, description of how things were. So the words that Jonas is referring to are in another video, which I will link, which is mental state, or after the word if, that doesn't change. So for example, if you say, if I ate pasta, I would be sick. I ate pasta, highly unlikely as a celiac, but there you go. So I ate last night, action taking place, or j'ai mangé. Okay. If it were I ate pasta every day when I was younger, I ate pasta. So that would be repetition, which is another one of the rules I refer to. So I used to eat. In other words, if you can swap your sentence for I used to eat, that would be je mangeais. Okay. If it were if I ate pasta, so after the word if and referring to a past, you will use the imperfect. Si je mangeais. Okay, job done. So mental state, description of things. Luke was eating, Luke was whatever, fine, that's going to be was. But if you don't hear the was, okay, the clock, when I was a child, my grandmother, you know, had a clock, okay? Quand j'étais un enfant, quand j'étais petit, ma grand-mère avait une horloge. It used to ring at whatever. It used to ring, or it rang in English. So first clue, you could change it to it used to, so that would make it the was tense. It used to ring. Description, it's describing what it did, okay? If it were referring to the action, it rang one day at 11 o'clock, that would be the passé composé. So ça sonnait versus, you know, elle a sonné versus elle sonnait. So to go to Jonas's question, if you said, so he's talking about the verb promise, okay? So, les annonces qu'elle a lues sur le journal is a bit weird, but promettait beaucoup. Okay, so basically, he's worried about promettait. Let's explain why. If it were, so he's saying the announcements that he read, the action of reading the announcements, the announcements she read promised a lot. So in English, the promised there, okay, is not in the have